Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Civil Service Commission meeting for March 6th of 2024, and we are going to now bring that to order. I'd like to welcome all in-person and online attendees, especially online now that you can hear us. If you want to provide oral comments on any of the agenda items, please be sure to read the instructions on the first page of the agenda. If you're attending this meeting in person and you would like to pull an agenda item for discussion when asked, please stand and identify yourself by name or number, and we will return to your item after the consent agenda is approved. Attendees joining this meeting using Zoom application will alert Commission staff of your intention to speak about an agenda item by using the quote Q&A or question and answer function at the bottom of the screen. Please include your name, telephone number, or other identifying feature you selected when logging in, and the agenda item number you want to speak about. Attendees who have dialed into today's meeting, please press *9 on your phone to raise your hand to alert Commission staff of your intention to speak about an agenda item. When called upon for you to speak, please unmute yourself using *6 on your phone. We will now commence with the order of business. We still live?
We are.
Good. All right. Will the Commission Secretary please take the roll?
Commissioner Coleman,
Present.
Commissioner Fletcher, Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy,
Present.
Commissioner Smith.
Present. All right, agenda item number B is approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of January 3rd, 2024?
Also move to approve.
All right. Commissioner Johnson has moved. Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy has second. Is there any discussion? All right. Will the Commission Secretary please record the Commissioners' votes?
Commissioner Coleman,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Aye. All right. The vote is unanimous for those present. All right. Non-agenda public comment. Members of the public may address any matter relating to the Civil Service Commission other than the items that are on today's agenda. The total amount of time allowed for public comment will be limited to not more than 2 minutes unless I, as the acting or as the Commission President, agree to extend that time. Now, do any of the attendees want to make a public comment about any matter relating to the Civil Service Commission, but not on today's agenda? If so, and you join the meeting using Zoom, please use the Q&A function on the bottom portion of the screen to inform Commission staff. If you dialed in today's meeting, you may press *9 on your telephone to raise your hand to alert Commission staff. When called upon for you to speak, please unmute yourself using *6 on your telephone. We will need to wait a minute in the event somebody wants to make a comment and is attempting to alert staff now. Will the executive auditor please start a timer?
Yes.
While we're waiting for the timer, if anybody here would like to speak on an item not on the agenda, please let us know now as well. Probably not, okay?
Commissioners, 1 minute has passed and we've received no request to make a public comment.
All right, thank you. Okay, hearing none, we will now move on to the agenda item discussion, which is agenda item number D. Do any of the attendees want to pull an agenda item for discussion? If you're attending this meeting in person and you would like to pull an item for discussion, please stand and identify yourself by name or number, and we will return to your item after the consent agenda is approved. See anyone standing? If you are speaking for an appellant or complainant, please use their assigned number. If you join the meeting using Zoom, please use the Q&A function on the bottom portion of your screen to inform Commission staff of the agenda item you wish to speak about. If If you dialed into today's meeting, you may press *9 on your telephone to raise your hand to alert the commission staff. When called upon for you to speak, please unmute yourself using *6 on your telephone. Once again, we'll need to wait a minute in the event somebody wants to pull an agenda item and is attempting to alert staff. Now, before I have the executive officer start a timer, I would like to inform everyone that I, as the commissioner, will be pulling agenda item number 11. So if that changes anybody's mind, whether they'd like to speak or not, I just wanted to get that on the table first off. So Todd, you want to start a timer?
I'll start the timer. Commissioners, 1 minute has passed and we've received no other request to pull an item for discussion.
All right. Thank you. Now we'll move on to item E, which is the formation of the consent calendar. Will the commission secretary please announce the items forming the consent calendar at this time?
Commissioners, agenda item 6 is automatically pulled for discussion, and item 11 is also pulled for discussion. Therefore, agenda items 1, 5, 7 through 10, and 12 through 14 form our consent agenda.
Just to clarify, it's items 1 through 5.
Through 5, yeah.
All right. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Do we have a second? Okay, moved by Commissioner Coleman and seconded by Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy. Are there any discussion? Hearing none, will the commission secretary please record the commissioner vote?
Commissioner Coleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye. All right, all 4 of the attendees have voted to approve the consent calendar. Now we're going on to discussion number F. And this is the agenda item number 6, which is Commissioner Fletcher's report on the discrimination matter. Commissioner Fletcher was unable to make it today, so Commissioner Coleman will be reading his position statement. Now, do any of the attendees want to speak about this agenda item? If so, and you join the meeting using Zoom, please use the Q&A function on the bottom portion of your screen to alert commission staff. If you dial into today's meeting, you may press, you should probably know by now, *9 to raise your hand to alert commission staff. We will need you to wait a minute in the event somebody wants to speak about this agenda item and is attempting to alert the staff now. Will the executive officer please start a timer?
Yes. Commissioners, 1 minute has passed and we received no request to pull this or to speak to this agenda item.
All right, very good. Thank you. Hearing none, then I would ask Commissioner Coleman to please proceed with reading Commissioner Fletcher's report. Thank you.
Thank you. The Civil Service Commission appointed Commissioner Brian J. Fletcher as its member to be the investigating officer in the matter of the complaint submitted by employee 2023-028, a former equipment operator who alleged discrimination based on race by the Department of Public Works. In accordance with the established rules and procedures of the Commission, the matter was concurrently referred to the Office of Ethics and Compliance, OEC, for investigation. The OEC concluded the discrimination investigation and has reported its findings to the Commission. The investigating officer has received and reviewed OEC's report and has taken into consideration all documentation submitted in this matter. The investigating officer concurs with OEC's report and has concluded that the evidence does not support a finding of probable cause that a violation of discrimination laws occurred. On behalf of Commissioner Fletcher, I therefore recommend that 1, Employee 2023-028's Rule 6 discrimination complaint be denied, and 2, the Commission approve and file this report with a finding of no probable cause to believe that the complainant has been unlawfully discriminated against. And I so move.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. We have a first and a second. Is there any discussion on the item? All right, hearing none, I would ask that the Commission Secretary please record the votes.
Commissioner Coleman,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Aye. Okay, one last item on this. Fortunately, Commissioner Fletcher was not able to make it today, and I've informed him as president in order to have an excused absence, he has to bring his Super Bowl ring to the next meeting for us all to see. So it's been a long time coming, and we haven't seen it yet, so we'll get it back in with him. All right, all voting present, all here present voting voted to affirm the motion. Okay, our next item is agenda item number 11, which is a request to seal a performance appraisal. I would also like at this point, since I am pulling this item for discussion myself, to allow any member or attendees that want to speak about this agenda item. If you wish to, and you join the meeting with Zoom, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen and alert Commission staff. If you dialed in today's meeting, you may press *9 to raise your hand to alert Commission staff. We will wait a minute in the event somebody wants to speak about this agenda item and is attempting to alert staff now. And would you want to start a timer for us? And in the meantime, if anybody here would like to speak on it, I will be calling on some people as well. So,
Okay.
all right.
Your name?
So you'll be available with questions, or do you want to make a separate statement to begin with, or okay?
Okay.
Commissioners, 1 minute has passed and we have no other requests to speak about this item.
All right, fair enough. Let me speak to my concerns with this item, and I really there are a couple of concerns I have with it. I think it is well known for you to attend civil service meetings that I'm not a big proponent of sealing performance evaluations. I think that personally, that sealing them is not good for anyone. It's not good for the staff. It's not good, especially I believe, for the employee that is asking them to be sealed. And I don't think it is good for, when I say the staff, fellow workers and people to have reviews sealed. And it's an authority that is given to us and only the Civil Service Commission with the county to seal appraisals. And to me, that says that it should not be taken lightly. And heretofore, this commission has never taken it lightly. We always are very serious about when to seal and when not to seal, and under certain criteria. And the more I've read about this and the more I've thought about it, it dawned on me that I, as the commissioner, and I've been the longest here on for 5 years, I don't actually know what sealing an appraisal means from a practical standpoint. We all talk about sealing the appraisal. In my mind, I think that's being slid into an envelope and a wax seal with a ring embedded on the seal, and that's where it stays. But I'm not sure that's the case. I have several questions, and that's why I've asked the HR people to be here. I think we need to understand, as the commission mainly, when we hear sealing an appraisal, what exactly does that mean? I mean, the part of the question I have is, you have personnel files. Are they hard copy? Are they electronic? Are they put in the file? Are they put in an envelope and sealed? Can a person unseal them if they come back to the commission if they want? Who has access to that file? Under what circumstances would they be given out? A subpoena, I assume? Those type of questions, I think we as a commission need to know, as well as applicants. You know, if an employee is thinking something happens magically that just goes away, I don't know if that's the case. So there's my question, and I don't know. I know HR has several representatives here, so who wants to speak to that?
Well, we can give the employing department of the requester for sealing performance appraisal an opportunity to speak about what they do in their department when a performance appraisal is sealed. And then I also have people that can join us that are here virtually that can speak to it from DHR from a general perspective. So do you want to give the employing department an opportunity first?
They're here, let's do it.
Okay. Oh, please, you can sit there and.
Again, you're Sherry Booz? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. So from the department perspective, we do not seal the PR. Once the PR has been completed, it is sent over to our Department of Human Resource Officer, or sorry, our Department of Human Resources, and it is filed in the employee's record. I believe it's usually in an electronic form, but as far as the sealing, it would have to go through DHR for the sealing process of it. It's not something that we would do at the department level.
Well, our office does send a referral to the employing department and to central HR department, ordering them to seal it. Are you saying that the department does not keep a personnel file or files, electronic or otherwise, of an employee that contains performance appraisals?
Our central records will be with the Department of Human Resources.
Okay, so there's no department personnel file for people that work at the agency that might contain a performance appraisal.
Central records will be with the Department of Human Resources.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess we need the representative from Department of
Okay.
Human Resources.
Yes, I've allowed the two representatives from DHR to speak. If you could please unmute yourself and Ms. Carlson, are you available?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Carlson, if you could just tell us your name just for the record.
Yes, Jessica Francis Carlson.
Could you respond to Commissioner Smith's question with regards to what happens to the performance appraisal when it's sealed and you receive the referral from our department to seal it?
Yes, once the commission directs us at DHR to seal the performance appraisal, we then remove it from Documentum, which is our electronic records system. And then once it is removed from the system, we print a copy and place it in a sealed envelope and place that in a locked drawer, not to be accessed. There are two people that do have access, but it does not get accessed in that envelope for any reason.
Okay, is there any notation in the file, the electronic file that you maintain, that there was a performance evaluation that was sealed by the Civil Service Commission?
There are no notations made.
So the
It is removed from the
evaluation is
system.
just not there.
Correct.
So if somebody comes in and asks for it, what are they told?
So I have not yet been asked to access one that has been sealed. I will definitely need to get back to you. Actually, I may be able to refer to somebody else on the line from DHR in case they have had that instance come up before.
I mean, I'm just, again, trying to weed through all of the issues of potentially what could happen, because if I'm working in DHR and it's my responsibility to have evaluations in files and there's not one there that's supposed to be there, I'm curious as to what I'm going to tell people that ask for it.
We have on our video conference, Brandy Winterbottom, and she is a deputy director at HR. Brandy, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. As Todd said, Brandy Winterbottom from the Department of Human Resources. I'm a deputy director. When we receive a subpoena or some other inquiry for employee records, we provide them with the official record on file in Documentum, and that would not include the sealed performance review. It does not exist in the employee's file.
And should in the future the employee ask for it to be unsealed, is that potentially, I assume since it's in a locked drawer, is that something the commission could do or could not do?
We've never been posed with that question. I would defer to our attorney with some advice for that. I suppose we could entertain that question, but we've never been posed with that.
Yeah, my suggestion in that situation would be to, we'd have to reevaluate it with both parties involved, as it's a mutual agreement to seal. Well, I'm sorry, it isn't usually a mutual agreement to seal, but there are two parties involved, and you may be setting a precedence of unsealing them by the request of one versus the other. But it is the employee's record. It's the county's record, but it's the employee's evaluation, and there may be a process that we could undertake to unseal the record at some point.
And thank you. The reason I'm asking these questions is, again, my concern here is from the person who's asking to have their file sealed. I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews, and I know having a sealed file can be a huge detriment to you as an employee. And the very fact you seal it, I mean, it's going to be public information to some extent because people all are aware of this meeting. And I'm concerned about the harm they're doing themselves in doing that, because as a supervisor, if I know there's an appraisal that's not there or has been sealed, you assume, frankly, the worst of what's happened here. And we've had a couple of reviews recently, and one of them was a very favorable review. It was very positive. And I will say one of the concerns I have in this case is this review, as I read it, again, it's a progress review for a probationary period. First of all, I won't say who wrote it, but it's very, very well written. It covers all of the points. It's a positive, it's a negative. They're rated on 29 points. 25 of them are positive. I mean, they're satisfactory ratings. The overall review is satisfactory. There are 4 points where there were noted areas that needed improvement. Those were elaborated on in the appraisal. So the appraisal, in my mind, was doing exactly what it should be doing for a person in a probationary period, is going in depth to address the issues. And we've had this issue before come up. There's a timeliness issue. I mean, there's a requirement that it has to be done within a certain period of time. And if it's not, then it's appealable to the Civil Service Commission. And in this case, I know there were 2 issues here that are brought up that the appellant had asked for. One was it was not done in a timely manner, and two, it covered items outside of the review period, which again is against the rules. Let me speak to the items outside the review period. Again, this is a periodic review through progression of a probationary period. I think I see that different than a regular annual review, perhaps, and this is just me speaking, in that you want all the information you can get about everything you're doing if you want to do a good job in probation. And I'd hate to see that you're not getting everything because it's maybe happened 2 weeks after review. I know in this case, there was a discussion that the supervisor had ongoing discussions with the employee as it went on. The other thing, and we've had this discussion on the commission before, to me, I understand timing. I'm concerned about getting too focused on timing because then it becomes just a matter of getting anything in to meet the time frame. And you frankly don't get the quality of the review I'm looking at here. I've seen lots of reviews. They were done in a timely manner, but they're not worth the paper that they're written on. So that is my concern about setting precedents in this case for a delay that was 30 days. I understand the 30 days, that was a short time frame. I mean, that's from my perspective. Again, personally, would I wait 30 days to get a review of this quality? Yes, I would. That's a personal opinion. I can't speak for the rest of the commission. The other issue is that the applicant is saying is that some of the items in the review were done outside of the window, outside of the review period, which is simply the first 6 months of probation. I can tell you, I went through the review as I've told you, I could not find any example of that. I didn't find anything in there that was written outside of the review period. And I know that we've had a clarification from HR that says there is nothing in there, which again, if we're looking at the two issues, one, items outside the window, can't find anything that was outside the window. And again, my personal preference is in probationary period, you want anything, you can get it whenever you get it. And you should be welcoming the information, in my opinion. Then we come down to the only issue to seal it then, if there's only two criteria, is the timing issue. And I've heard the applicant's harm from that. But again, I'm concerned that whatever we do here sets a precedent for sealing future reviews. And I'm willing to bet, and HR, you probably know better than I, there's probably 17,000 reviews written in this with the County of San Diego every year. And if the criteria is only 30 days to get it sealed, I don't think that's in anybody's interest. Then I have one other question, and maybe this is more for council, is we've always been told that sealing reviews is very, very important and should not be done lightly for many reasons. I mean, the county needs to know what's going on. Fellow work people need to know what's going on with employees around them if it impacts them. There's a mechanism in place. If you don't like your review or provisions of it, you can submit an explanation as to why you disagree, and it goes in your file. To me, that is a far better option for an employee than sealing it. Seals it, people jump to conclusions what's in it. You explain, in this case, there are only 4 items out of 29. I think the employee is better served by writing an explanation as to why those performance criteria weren't being met. And again, in a probationary period, you should have items to improve. I mean, the very nature of it, you're new to the job, should mean that. Now, the question I have for council, I mean, again, this request, and we had other one just recently that said, employee doesn't object, we don't object as HR, let's just seal it. Well, you're sending me mixed messages. Do you, HR, do they want them sealed or not? I mean, is it important? That's the question.
Well, I think in this particular situation, we acknowledge the timeline. We acknowledge that it was late And this employee, she was not successful during her probationary period. She's no longer in this position. So we had no concerns with sealing the employee's PR. That was why we decided to seal it.
And then at the conclusion of her probationary period, there's another review given at that time. And it's going to outline all of the performance for the entire review period.
So she didn't get a final because she was not successful during her,
So there's no negative,
right.
I mean, there's not if you're not successful, you don't get a fine. Okay.
right,
That was gonna be my question, is that one sealed as well, but there is not one.
right.
Now, in this case, there was an appeal of the opinion of the first appraisal.
Yes.
Is that appeal sealed as well? And that's not part of our action here today.
Well, it's part of the PR, so I would believe that would be sealed as well. The PR appeal will
Well, I
be
mean-
attached to it.
I think, and that's what I'm asking, is it or isn't it? I mean, I don't,
There can be the finalized appraisal after the appeal process becomes the appraisal for that rating period. There can't be two appraisals for the same rating period. So that previous one that was initiated through the appeal process, that just goes away.
okay, so then what happens then is the review that's issued upon appeal, in this case in December, becomes the official appraisal, which then is sealed and the other one no longer exists.
Yes, that's correct.
And the appellant that reviewed this, their files are also sealed on this.
Well, I mean, there would be potentially she has an electronic version of it. Obviously, you know, what she does with that, we don't have any control over. So it would potentially still be floating out there, you know, in the with the appellant, with the employee in this case.
Again, and I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody and say you're not doing your job or anything. That's not my intent here. I'm just trying to understand how all of this works so that employees understand what they're doing too and what they're asking for. Because to me, it's a huge impact on. And honestly, the reason I'm not in favor of this action is frankly, I believe this is more harmful to the employee than sealing it. I mean, I think sealing it is more harmful than allowing her to go through the process to write a response and make that part of the file. So that's my position. And I don't know if any other commissioners have any questions. Mr. President,
I'll go. So that was a lot. So thank you for giving that very well-reasoned explanation of why you pulled the item and about the item. I have a completely different ideological sort of philosophical approach to this, and we've discussed it in this commission before. I do expect the county's HR department to be timely, and I expect our employees to be timely, not as a matter of opinion or feeling, but as a matter of basically law. The civil service rule has the force of law, and it demands that these documents be turned in timely. Therefore, if the employee is not getting a timely performance appraisal, or was it a PR, whatever we're calling it, then they have by definition been harmed. And if they're not, and if we want to create like ways around that, then we should change the rules. Or someone should change the rules. I think that's the county board of supervisors or whatever. So I also want to point out the concept of agency. Our very well trained human resource officers have made a decision in this. They've evaluated all the factors and they've decided that they agree to seal the performance appraisal. The employee who has whatever decisions that they've made to come to this request has the agency to make that request. And in this case, they agree. So I think that we should approve that agreement. We should approve this request. And I also think that if we want to sort of explore the process associated with sealing a permit, because you asked a lot of good questions that I honestly did not know the answer to, that I guess this would lead to my question, but rather than holding up someone's appeal, I think we should inquire. Now, I don't know the process by which commission would submit inquiry. I know we have the power to submit inquiry, and I know it's more of an order as opposed to a request. So, like, I think it would have been better if to get to the answers that you want so that we have a better understanding of the process to submit a written inquiry, let the department respond to it in writing, and then we would have an understanding of all the elements of your question in writing and something we can refer to later, so that in our decisions as we look at different performance appraisals. So that being said, I just want to reaffirm the two things that I said. One, I do expect our HR department to be on time, and all subordinate subordinates in that chain to be on time. And I think it's fair, especially since it's written into the civil service rules, for the employees to expect that they are to be on time. And especially, as I pointed out previously, one of the 29 points I believe that we review all of our employees on is timeliness. So we can't expect timeliness from our employees and then not expect timeliness from their managers and their HR professionals. So I will support this approval or this
A
request.
question and a comment.
Certainly.
My question is, once a performance appraisal is sealed, is there any indication in the employee's file that there has been any action to seal something? And I see somebody shaking her head no back there.
I believe the answer was no.
Okay. All right.
Hello, this
So
is
my-
Jessica again, sorry, from DHR, and
Thank
that
you.
is correct. The
Jessica.
answer is no. There's no indication. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And so my comment is, Commissioner Smith, that was a very good detailed description of your position, and I appreciate those comments. I think it is important to have timely performance appraisals, particularly when an employee is in their probationary period. As part of the probationary period, performance appraisals are for the purpose of telling an employee, how are you doing? Are you doing a good job? Do you need to improve some places? And if those are late, then by the time the employee's performance doesn't improve and they do get terminated, a late performance appraisal is too little too late, because they haven't been put on notice about whatever performance may be deficient. Excuse me. So I think it is important to have those done timely, particularly in a situation where an employee is still in the probationary period, so that they have ample notice and they're put on notice on what might be deficient and how to improve their performance so that they can be successful employees. And I get and I understand that we don't want to set a precedent that every time an appraisal is a few days late or 30 days late, that we've now set a precedent that we will do this. But there are circumstances where those are important. Timely appraisals are important, and this is a motion that I would support as well. And in fact, I will make the motion to approve the recommendation to seal the employee's appraisal.
We have a motion and then we have a second by Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy. Is there any other discussion? Having none, hearing none, we will take it to a vote.
Commissioner Coleman,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Nay. Okay, moving on. Let's see where we are here. Okay. Okay, the vote was 3 in favor of the motion to seal and 1 opposed. All right, that concludes today's meeting. I want to thank you all for attending, and the next commission meeting is scheduled for April the 3rd of 2024. Thank you all. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate the explanation on everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's it.